Welcome back, everybody. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the very eerie and quite strange case of the lead masks. This is another one of a series of videos that we are doing focusing on strange deaths and mysterious cases from around the world. Today's case takes us to Brazil, where in 2017 there was a series of deaths that all seem to have something strange in common. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this format. We've gotten some great feedback from you guys. If you do like it, please remember to smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already. On February 24, 2017, a man by the name of Oris Vanin was found dead in his home in Cambara do Sul, in the state of Rio Grande do Sul. He was a 74-year-old man who lived in this home with his wife. The day before his death, he had been suffering from stomach pains and went to the local health center, but was told to go home and advised to drink water to try and alleviate these stomach pains. The next day, his wife came back from shopping to find Oris lying on the floor next to the toilet. At first, she thought that he had simply passed out, but soon realized that he had indeed passed away. She immediately contacted emergency services, but when they arrived at the house, they were unable to resuscitate Oris, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. The news of his death spread throughout the small community, and many people were shocked, because just 3 days prior to this, 2 other people from the community had also died in strange circumstances. A few days before this, on February 19th, a woman named Marcia de Lacerda was found dead inside of her own home. She was also a 74-year-old woman who had been discovered by her son lying on the bathroom floor next to the toilet. And just a few days before that, on February 16th, a young 21-year-old man named Gavin Oliveira da Silva also died after being found in a similar fashion next to the toilet in the bathroom of his home. All 3 of these people died in the exact same way, collapsing next to the toilet in their respective bathrooms. What were the odds? As you can imagine, this caused a huge stir within the community. People were scared and confused as to what was happening, but that wasn't even the strangest part. If you recall earlier in the video, I mentioned that our first victim, Oris, was found dead next to the toilet. Well, the authorities noticed that he had a strange object in his mouth. They initially thought that it might have been some sort of candy or maybe a pill, but it turned out to be something completely different. After taking the object from the deceased man's mouth, they quickly realized that it was a shiny lead cube, which is the same density as the lead that is used in radiation protection. But why would someone put a lead cube in their mouth? What was this lead cube doing in the mouth of a dead man? That's something that nobody has ever been able to answer. What made the situation even more peculiar is that when the authorities did autopsies on all 3 of the deceased individuals, toxicology reports showed that none of them had any poison or drugs in their systems. It really appeared as though all 3 of these people had died of fright. But fright from what? Why would they all die of fright at nearly the same time? There were no signs of forced entry into any of the houses, and nothing appeared to be stolen. None of the neighbors reported hearing anything unusual during the night. In question, it was almost as if these 3 people had been struck down simultaneously by an unknown force, and that still doesn't explain the lead cube that was found in the mouth of the first victim. Was there some kind of connection between these deaths? And if so, what was it? What was the motive? These are questions that the police never got any closer to answering. Strangely enough, some people within the community started to believe that these deaths might have something to do with aliens. Some claimed that the victims had been in contact with extraterrestrials and that the lead cube might have been some sort of evidence left behind by these beings. Others believed that the lead cube might have been some kind of tracking device used by the government to monitor the victims. Conspiracy theories ran rampant throughout the town as people tried to make sense of these bizarre events. To this day, the case remains unsolved. To this day, nobody knows what happened to these people. Was it aliens? Was it the government? Was it something else? Or was there a more natural explanation for everything that was happening here? We may never know for sure. I bring this case up only because it's a prime example of how even in modern times, there are still cases that stump the police and science as a whole. No matter how advanced we get, there will always be things that we simply cannot explain. And what's even scarier is that most of these unexplainable phenomena usually go unnoticed. It's estimated that in the United States alone, over 60,000 people die every year under mysterious circumstances, meaning that there are likely many other cases similar to this one that go on to be forgotten about. There is much that we don't know about our world, and sometimes that lack of knowledge can be terrifying. I want to know your thoughts on this case, though. Do you think there was a more natural explanation for all of these deaths? Did these people really die of fright? What do you think the lead cube means? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're down there, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to smash that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It's quick and easy. And as always, thanks for watching. Now we move on to our next viewer-suggested video. In the spring of 2002, 8 men set off on what should have been a routine flight from New York to Washington, D.C. The single-engine propeller plane was making the trip as part of a package delivery service. Little did those men know that this trip would end in a way that would change history forever. At the time, the pilots of the plane had no reason to suspect that anything was wrong. The weather was clear and the skies were open. The pilots sent greetings to the control tower as they approached their destination. But what happened next would send shockwaves around the world. As the plane continued its approach to the runway, air traffic controllers noticed that the plane was not descending at the proper rate. The plane should have been coming down slowly, but instead it was plummeting toward the ground. Before anyone knew what was happening, the plane was on a collision course with the Pentagon. The nation watched in horror as the plane slammed into the side of the building. A massive fireball erupted, sending smoke billowing into the sky. And then silence. The silence of a nation in shock. The United States had been attacked, but who was responsible? It didn't take long for the finger of blame to point towards the usual suspects, Osama bin Laden and his terrorist network Al-Qaeda. But as the dust settled and the smoke cleared, a shocking discovery was made. There was no indication that the plane had been hijacked. There was no sign of a struggle. There were no terrorists to be found. So who was responsible for this heinous crime? How could such a well-planned attack be carried out without anyone noticing? Could it have been an inside job? If you want to know more about this harrowing tale, stay tuned. We'll reveal all the secrets behind the crash that changed the world forever. So stay tuned. You won't want to miss this.